So you're in it for the long haul. But wait, what does the long haul even look like? 3 months? 6 months? A year? 2 years? 20 years? 50 years? I'm S.J. Lyon, and this is the Sex Talk. It's a little hard to say when exactly you cross over into the long-term relationship territory with someone. The fact is that it's different for everyone. Of course, most couples, therapists, and relationship experts will tell you that it's anything after the 6-month mark, which they consider to be the getting to know each other phase. Again, this isn't necessarily a hard and fast rule, however. Perhaps a better indication of when you move from a short-term relationship to a long-term one is how it feels. Here are 5 general categories that we'll go more in depth in through the course of this video. More vulnerability, doubts about hanging in there, less sex or sex that's slightly different, disagreements, and relationship shifts and harder breakups. Our first one is fairly self-explanatory. You're going to feel more vulnerable and more insecure about losing someone that you've shared part of your life with rather than someone that you've just met and hardly knows you. This first category can often lead into the second. If you feel vulnerable and insecure, you may also start worrying about whether or not the relationship will last. There's nothing wrong with having doubts or questioning a relationship. You're not being disloyal or betraying the relationship by having them. It's simply a sign of an active mind. It's what people do when they're trying to stay aware and keep evaluating the relationship. If your doubts are really having a negative effect on you, the relationship, or your partner, there's nothing wrong with sitting and talking it out. Now, this third category may be more related to when you and your partner started having sex. If you refrained from sex until you were several months to a few years into the relationship, this long-term phase could actually mark the beginning of sex for your relationship. Either way, it's normal for the intensity of sexual feelings to fizzle over time. When sexual activity does move away from the forefront of the relationship, that doesn't necessarily mean anything is wrong. Just like if you start to have more disagreements, that doesn't necessarily mean anything is wrong. Disagreements are normal in any relationship. However, once you've moved into the long-term phase of your relationship, you might find that your disagreements with your partner increase. We don't often like to be combative during the start of a relationship, and that's if we notice anything worth disagreeing about in the first place. Sometimes the honeymoon phase blinds us, and it's only once we're out of that phase that we start to see red flags. Sometimes the long term can mean shifts in your relationship. The shifts can be wonderful, but they can also be irreconcilable. You may decide that you need to change how things work or break things off altogether. You may realize this quickly after entering the long-term phase, or it could take time. Unfortunately, when it takes longer to get to the point of wanting to end things, it may also take a longer time to get over it once you do end things. Ultimately, time is the major healer here. Don't forget to also talk through it with someone if you need to. A long-term relationship may also just reach a natural conclusion, with all parties separating in comfort and ease. It is typical in this long-term relationship phase for people to consider starting a family. This might look like marriage and children for some people. It might also look like moving in together and adopting or fostering animals. You'll never know unless you take the time to discuss it, though. A major part of any interpersonal commitment is open, honest communication. Talking through concerns, doubts, fears, wants, and not wants is an important part of any healthy and happy relationship. I'm S.J. Lyon. This has been the Sex Talk on long-term relationships, and until next time, stay safe, everyone.